Thank you, Nigel, for that introduction, and greetings, Thomas. Welcome, kia ora. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending the forum here today. It does give me great pleasure in opening the forum here with you at Te Papa, this annual Refugee Resettlement Forum, but also sharing it with you and sharing the learnings that will feed back through our team from the various discussions, networking, and various breakout groups and discussions that you have over the next couple of days. On behalf of Minister Woodhouse, the Minister of Immigration, who's currently travelling overseas, I'll be talking about some of the key issues in the refugee resettlement space, and what your government is doing. It is fitting that the theme for the forum this year is active participation, establishing a sense of belonging. Being able to actively engage with civil society and feeling part of that community is an integral part of successful settlement in New Zealand. The New Zealand Refugee Resettlement Strategy reflects the importance that the government places on helping refugees adapt to life here as quickly and as easily as possible. The strategy's overarching aim is to deliver better outcomes for refugees settling in New Zealand. It's no secret that refugees have traditionally found it quite difficult to find jobs, so focusing on increasing paid employment is one crucial way that refugees can become more self-sufficient once settled in New Zealand. Paid employment also leads to more opportunities for further interaction with the local community and consequently more involvement and participation in our New Zealand communities. Your various discussions here today around the forum and around the theme will no doubt provide other examples and ideas that can support the feeling of belonging through participation in our New Zealand communities. The government already spends around $58 million on resettling quota refugees each year and announced increased funding for refugee services in last year's budget, with an additional $5.6 million over 4 years for improvement to resettlement planning, housing services and support in the resettlement and settlement regions. That funding will help pay for measures such as Learn to Drive and for Learn to Drive programs for working age refugees. This scheme is already getting off the ground in Hamilton with a joint venture between the Hamilton Migrant Trust and the Waikato Refugee Forum. In that program, police will be providing road safety briefings at the beginning of the program, and a number will have indicated that they will volunteer in driver mentor roles. That program will cover 15 families, with participants expected to graduate with a restricted licence by September this year. That's exactly the sort of initiative to help refugees prepare to enter the job market in New Zealand. It also complements many other initiatives around employment, including the Pathways to Employment program delivered by the New Zealand Red Cross. Ensuring refugees have the best possible start to their new life here in New Zealand is critical to increasing their employment prospects once they've settled. Improved offshore orientation that tells refugees about their life in New Zealand and the resettlement challenges that they may and probably will face has certainly helped. I particularly welcome the Mangere Refugee Resettlement Centre reception program's strong focus on engaging working age refugees in practical preparations for employment. As far as results are concerned, it's still early days, but we're confident that changes to the mix of services provided to quota refugees will assist and achieve better outcomes for their resettlement. The government is investing around $21 million in the rebuild of the centre at Mangere, and I'm delighted that good progress is being made. In fact, I hear it's ahead of schedule. Minister Woodhouse was very fortunate to be there for the sod turning ceremony earlier this year, and it's pleasing to see that it is ahead of schedule and should be completed by the second half of next year. Improving the centre facilities will also help achieve the strategy's aim by supporting closer working relationships with various on-site agencies. There have been some logistical challenges with doing the work while the centre carries on with business as usual, but it is a tribute to everyone involved, particularly the staff, that have been able to overcome many of those obstacles without any major issues. The existing services and facilities at the centre do certainly show signs of wear and tear, and I believe the new buildings will be something we can all be proud of. There has been a lot of focus recently on the annual refugee quota and criticism in some quarters of our record in resettling refugees. As I'm sure you know, a number of organisations have called for the refugee quota to be increased from its current 750 per year. I want to reiterate what the Minister has already said on a number of occasions. The Government agreed the current 3-year refugee quota programme in June 2013, and a decision will be made on the next 3-year programme in 2016 after considering all the relevant factors. Our refugee quota is a reflection of the Government's commitment to fulfilling its international humanitarian obligations and responsibilities to provide protection to refugees who are not able to return home safely to their home country. In my view, some of the recent criticism over numbers is a bit misplaced. New Zealand is one of the only a small number of countries that takes part in the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees' regular refugee resettlement programme, and the part we play has been recognised as a model of best international progress and practice by UNHCR. We also play our part in reacting to crises as they emerge, such as we all see in Syria. We responded to a call from the UNHCR and announced last year that New Zealand would resettle up to 100 Syrian refugees. To date, 83 Syrian refugees and their immediate family members have resettled in New Zealand, with the remaining 17 cases to be resettled in the next year or so. The Government has been working collaboratively with stakeholders across the sector to improve outcomes for all refugees as part of their journey to settle in New Zealand. There was invaluable input from many of you here in the room, and I'm confident that will lead to even better outcomes for refugees to New Zealand. I'm already touched on the work that's been done to increase the number of refugees in paid work, but also it's worth looking at some of the other objectives, such as increasing the educational achievement of refugee school leavers, ensuring better use of GP services, and greater access to mental health services where required. Invaluable work is already going on to align the English language classes more to the needs of refugees. There's no doubt that better English language skills will help refugees settle into and continue into their new communities. Finally, can I acknowledge the tremendous work that you all do in the room here to support the resettlement of refugees into New Zealand and your communities. New Zealand does have a long and proud history of offering refuge to those most in need. Since we began resettling young Polish refugees in 1944, approximately 33,000 refugees have been given the opportunity to seek a brighter future in New Zealand. The immense work that you and your organisations have done has helped transform so many lives, and you should be so proud of your efforts. I do hope you have a truly worthwhile forum, and as Nigel said, we will be paying attention to your discussions, things that come out of the forum and the analysis that comes from it. I wish you well for the next few days. Thank you very much.